What up, though?
I mean, he is right. It is time to remix that. Yeah, what up, though?
Add you into it.
Yeah, that is what we need to do. But what up, though? Welcome to Real Bar Talk, Milwaukee's Realest Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Unpopular Opinion, beer drinker amongst beer drinkers. Not for the next 30 days, but I used to be, and I'll return to it shortly. Tori and my co-host.
Booty Cheeks. That's
okay,
it.
we have a special guest in the building. Y'all may know him as
the background noise
in every one of our episodes, but this time we're inviting our
In every
engineer to pull
ever.
up and talk to us about this topic of conversation because it's going to be quite interesting today. But I would like to present to some and introduce to others. Tone Deaf Luckett.
It's the tone and tone deaf.
Give yourself some applause. Tone is always here.
Yeah, I want to press the button.
Now, so y'all need to get on our newfound Patreon if y'all want to hear this elaborate conversation we just had about women's bathrooms being disgusting, far more disgusting than men's. I don't know what's wrong with y'all and not being able to keep y'all bathroom
I know
fresh.
what's wrong with these bitches.
I blame it on white women.
Don't.
White women?
Yeah, especially
I don't
those,
know. I'm not in there to see who messing
especially
them up.
those fat ones that got that's not a fupa, but it's just big. They're usually the ones that stink the most.
Well,
I don't even know what that's going on up there.
I don't really know exactly what the problem is, but I was once, my daughter was like 2-3 years old, and you know, like I was telling them, you get caught in the whole conundrum of where you gonna take your daughter to the bathroom at, depending on where you at. Do I just, crack the door open, tell her to go in there and pee while I guard the door, or do I take her to the men's bathroom? I stand in front of the stall, let her do her thing. I opened that women's bathroom door, and the smell that came out of there, I snatched my baby up and told her we going in the men's bathroom. I do not know what you women be doing in them damn bathrooms.
They be doing everything but
Bathroom
being clean.
smells like Badussi and White Diamond.
Dog.
They do everything but be clean. Like, if you ain't clean enough to flush a toilet, if they got to put signs up to tell you not to flush your tampons and stuff, y'all just dirty. That's why I hate using public bathrooms if I have to, and if I will hold my piss until I get home.
Like, I don't expect, every public bathroom to be squeaky clean, like Quick Trip, because I'll take a shit in Quick Trip quick because they clean their bathrooms.
Wait, you get gas and Speedway, but you're shitting Quick Trip.
That's right.
You are a terrible human being.
Yeah, because
It's
Speedway don't take care of their bathroom.
It's a difference.
It is a difference. I won't lie.
Speedway don't take care of their
The
bathroom
Quick
like
Trip
that.
by my job got a grocery store in it. I was like,
Every Quick Trip like that.
but I don't really go to Quick Trip.
Oh, that's because it ain't none in Milwaukee. You got to go to the outskirts to get to
Yeah,
Quick
that's
Trip.
where I'm
Going
at.
to Quick Trip is an experience.
Yeah, it is.
I know. It's like,
You can get fresh fruit from Quick Trip. You can get cooked food from Quick Trip. It ain't nothing like going to no damn Sitco with no
I
bullshit
swear
like that.
I went over there to clean
I've
my
actually
car.
seen a little old lady with a cart, like shopping in Quick Trip.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was like when I said, oh,
Like
I'm
Quick
gonna
Trip
come
gas-
here on my lunch break
Quick Trip
tomorrow.
gas stations are true.
They be having samples of their new food, they hot food.
Yeah, a
Some-
lady be out there cutting up pastries and stuff
Yeah.
like that. They happy when you come in. It's like
They got a-
it's
they
like
got
the
an actual
Chick-fil-A at
barista
gas
back there.
stations, really.
Yeah, they got a barista over there for your
Chick-fil-A
coffee.
when they fucked up my meal, my
You still
salad.
mad at them?
I just can't stand Chick-fil-A. They're just so overrated.
But they're nice.
They're nice.
They're
I
so
do
pleasant.
agree.
Mm-hmm. So
Monte said, cuss them out. I said, I can't. They so fucking nice.
Like, you can. Like,
you're right, man. I am an asshole.
Right.
Yes.
I do apologize for my assholeness. I was like,
where do I put
that's right. You
where do I pay
better.
my tithes at?
Nah, you just look like the angry black woman.
right. That's why I just didn't snap because I was like, I came with a full blown attitude. How the fuck you mess up a salad? Yeah, ma'am. I am completely sorry. Would you like that crispy or? I was like, grilled. That's right.
But you know what? Here, take some extra sauce.
Yeah, but here,
He
how about?
did. Like it was like 2 of everything
They give
else.
you
He's
some-
like, here's a coupon and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? I want a coupon from this shitty service.
We're so sorry about messing up your order. We'll give you a Chick-fil-A. How about that?
You a host. Dog, I can't remember who comedy I was watching. They was doing a video of different restaurants if they delivered food. And Chick-fil-A's was so pleasant, dog. It's like, here's your food. Here's all the sauces. Tony, come here. Here's the keys to his car. Here, they was giving them everything.
Oh, I seen that.
It was like McDonald's came in, they kicked the food in the house.
Yeah, that's McDonald's. All
And
right.
then they was like, hey, you owe me $20 for this sauce right here, bruh.
Oh, so before we start jumping into stuff, did anybody get a chance to check out Michael Che's new show?
What's the name of it? What's the name of it?
Michael Che.
That's the name of the show?
Basically.
Oh, no.
It's something else other than that, but it is fun, neat.
I've been watching the Upshaws, man.
Oh, well, Michael Che, Saturday Night Live just released a new special. I mean, well, not a special, a series on HBO Max. The first episode was about policing, where he makes fun of the interactions of white cops and black people. It's hands down. I won't give it away. I'll give you guys a chance to watch it. But my favorite part was Al Sharpton. Keep your eyes out for the cartoon of Al Sharpton. Only Michael Che can do this shit. I've always been a fan of Michael Che, though. When the weekend update on Saturday Night Live,
Yeah, they was
and
running
shit,
with that.
I don't understand why. I always think his like jaws wired shut because of the way he talks. And shit. He never opens his mouth. Kind of like 50 Cent. Never opens his mouth when he talks. Yeah.
Could be. He may have gotten shot 9 times. Who knows?
So first order of business, we're going to talk about Gary Owen's wife. Gary Owen's wife, who filed for divorce.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes, young black woman of 46 years old. Oh no, she's 40. Yes, she's 46. He's 48. Or she's 44 and he's 46. They're only 2 years apart.
Right.
But she filed for divorce, and she's asking in the divorce settlement that she get paid $44,000 a month in spouses.
Who the hell is she best friends with? Khalees?
So
That's nothing
Is it?
for them.
It's nothing in this moment.
For them.
In 10 years from now, there might be something.
that was going
Yeah,
to be
but
my
when that
point.
changes and stuff, all he got to do is go to court and get.
You know how long that shit take? There ain't no
Right.
just, you go down there and then they say, you only making that much? Okay, we're going to put it in right away. That shit takes motions. Then I'm sure she's going to object to it, and that shit could drag out for years. Nope, you ain't hooking me up like that. I got $10,000 a month.
But
That's
my
the best
thing
I
is,
can do.
why doesn't she deserve that though?
I didn't say she didn't deserve it. You know why? This is one time I'm actually on the side of the woman getting the spouses. Because it's been reported that man makes almost $400,000 a month. Between $250,000 and $400,000 a month.
That's actually
So
His
it's-
net worth
it's-
is $3 million.
That is
What
nowhere
the
near
hell-
accurate. That man has been on TV since Comic View.
I was like,
I
what is he-
refuse to believe that Gary Owens is only worth $3 million.
That's just what
It's
it
a
says
difference
right
between
there. It
getting
could be
paid.
wrong.
It's a difference between money he makes and values, things that he has asked. Like, if he was to go play for a role for a movie, he couldn't ask for Robert Downey Jr. amount. He could probably only ask for $3 million. So I guess that's where the worth comes into play at. Like, how
Another
much
one says
is
4.
you valued for?
I mean, the only thing higher says is 4.
I'm just saying, if this man really makes
What the
between
fuck?
$250 and $250 and $400,000 a month, which is kind of believable. He is a comedian. He releases videos. He probably got stake in different business or whatever.
True.
If they can prove those documents that he makes $400,000 a month,
Then that's a valid amount.
I
She's asking
do. I
for.
do see she's got a point.
That's
'Cause
only
now
10%.
Yeah, she's talking about 10%,
10 to
not
15.
just the normal 17% these hoes be getting. You know, child support and stuff. She's asked for 10% of his money. And then they've been together 23 years.
Yeah, you can't argue that she has not been there for him.
Right.
Like, I mean, I think
She's
she's the
been
reason
using
why.
some of his liskies, all that.
Right, she's the reason why he gets invited to the cookouts.
Right.
To be honest with
He
you,
married in.
Like
Yep,
when I
he
told
married
Tori,
in.
he used her to say nigga.
There you go. That's hey.
First,
and we accepted it.
Exactly.
So, gotta give her something.
I mean,
You got a nigga pass. 44K a month for a nigga pass is good enough for me.
and this is
44K a
for
month is nothing if his net worth is $4 million, and if what Tori's saying should be more,
I believe it to be more. You know,
it's nothing.
I mean, after 23 years of marriage, they probably just getting divorced for unreconcilable differences.
Did
I don't,
he say anything like against it though?
he hasn't released a statement, which in this case is probably the smartest thing.
Right.
You don't want to say the
or
wrong thing.
or probably because he ain't bothered by
he
it.
ain't bothered by
The
it.
media probably making
The media
it
just,
more than what
the media jumps on anything and everything for no reason
Well,
whatsoever.
in these cases, most people say, oh, the hoe is, gold digging and everything. In this case,
black folks.
How long has he been famous?
do they live in a house that it costs $44,000 to maintain? I mean, they might live in a house that it gardening and
Ooh, that kid, that
Like-
daughter look white as hell.
He got strong
Google
genes.
the kids.
No, because when you on Google, you could just click on the kids' names anyway. I ain't expect her to look so white.
But they say she's
strong
saying
genes.
that Gary Owens stopped returning her texts and stopped paying the bills at the house.
Oh, he got a new woman.
Yeah, he definitely got a new woman.
He got a young black tenderoni.
Which, if that's true, then she got to go the way she got to go to, take care of her kids and her family.
I hope it ain't true. She gonna get more than that 40.
Yeah,
I mean, 3 kids, 3 celebrity kids, or celebrities kids.
I mean,
he might be getting off.
They should be almost grown now, though.
I'm like,
right?
these kids adults.
Right, they should be grown. If anything, you just got to make sure your friendship is still good with your kids.
Yeah, but I think in certain cases like this, the kids,
They probably still
are
live
still
at
being,
home.
yeah, still being taken care of. and
Smart.
all that. So I think she'll get that 44,000. I ain't mad at it.
I mean,
if he got it, the way it's made seem that he's got it. I don't have a problem with
As
him
long
getting.
as he
Did
don't-
y'all see this coming?
With them? Not really.
Yep, it's black.
I did.
It's black chick and money involved. Yep, she was gonna get everything done. She needed.
I know the fuck you did.
I'm just saying.
I hate this nigga.
I'm just saying. It's the truth. Y'all ain't passing up just a divorce clean. You take what you got, and I take what I got. There ain't no need even to tell no lies
That is
like
true.
What a black woman got to do with this? White woman clean your the fuck out. Look at Tiger Woods.
But that's not what we're talking about right now. We are talking about
Tiger
this
Woods,
subject.
Tiger Woods didn't know how to keep his dick to himself. He deserved to get
That is
cleaned
also
out.
true. That's what you get for marrying the help anyway. Let's be honest. If the only way I would be marrying somebody if I was a multimillionaire and she didn't have a dime to her name is if we came up that way. If we was high school sweethearts and all that
they
shit.
came up
But ain't
that way.
Huh?
Didn't they come up that way?
She was what? A maid or a model or something? Tiger Woods' wife? She ain't had no money.
No, I'm talking about Gary Owens.
Oh,
and his
yeah.
wife.
Yeah,
They
but
came
that's
up
why
that
he's
way.
not saying.
That's why.
But he said a black woman in this.
Oh, I am saying
they
black
came
woman.
up that
Her black ass wasn't gonna walk out of there with just what she had. No,
Look.
that's why most black women sign prenups. If
Look,
they think you worth it,
Tina Turner is the only woman who's ever walked
and
away
then
and
because
not
she
wanting
knew
nothing.
that she was gonna worth way more than
Right.
I
She
did anyway.
She said,
I
fuck
can get all this
this
shit
nigga.
down.
You can keep all that shit. I just want my damn name.
Yep, because she knew. Because
said-
with
knew.
my name, I can make up
piss you
way
off with
more.
this
She went
name,
got
nigga.
she went got her a French man and left the fucking country.
And is living
She
out her
went-
last days. And
She went
luxury.
white and didn't come back at all.
And
She
she
said,
was like,
fuck
"Look,
you."
that nigga made me hate all of y'all."
She wouldn't sit on a black chair after that. Ike fucked all that up for us.
That's messed up, though.
Like for real, she really went and got her a white man and left the country.
She went to rock and roll and all.
got herself a dual
She said, "I'll
citizenship.
never sing an R&B song again. I don't want nothing to remind me of
None
this
of this
motherfucker."
Do she even still do songs like
No,
I wouldn't
she
try
still
Mary or
does.
anything?
I was watching her biography. She didn't even want to do the interview talking about Ike that led to all of this. When she got divorced from Dog, she just wanted to be done. But media want to know, hey, what happened? Why not together? They kept asking her. So she said, fuck it. So she sat down, did an interview, and talked about the domestic violence situation, and the shit took off.
So that's where What's Love got to do with it.
Yep.
All that shit.
I wonder what's love got to do with it part 2 to show her life older and stuff.
The after.
Yeah,
Ain't nobody gonna want to watch. It's gonna be all happy and
I just
peaceful.
said no. I would love it, but it's like I want to know the
You want-
mindset
right.
to make you just complete. Like I can see he.
It was that Rengoku shit she was doing that
Actually,
whole era. That's
no,
what made her
actually,
happy.
can't
Actually,
go
that
no
shit
more.
didn't save her, dog. She said
Yeah,
it.
but it's just like she really just stopped messing with niggas altogether.
She
Like,
stopped
no.
messing with the country. That's the part I want you to understand. She got the fuck up out.
She got to be the smartest person in the industry to me for that.
To leave.
Yeah, because it's like she didn't care about being this mega star.
She never wanted to be famous.
She didn't care. She got what she could, and she's getting what she can, and she's okay with what she has.
And didn't want none of that nigga money. Nothing. Keep all that.
That's
shit.
how you
I'm
know
out.
when
I
you at
wonder
that
what happened
age
to
of
his
peace.
estate after he died.
I think
I hope-
Whatever was
hopefully
left
the
after.
I
kids
think
got
the
it.
sons got it.
Yeah, hopefully them kids.
Yeah, the
that-
son. The sons got
What
it.
I'm gonna do with 2 more kids? I hope them 2 the ones that got it all.
What I'm gonna do with two? Oh, she raised all them kids like her own. Like
I
only.
wonder if she did she still fuck with the kids?
Nope. She estranged from all her kids.
The one she pushed out too?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, she had real peace.
I mean, I used to think that was fucked up, and maybe to a degree it is, but who knows how those kids were consummated? I mean, not consummated. How those kids were?
You're right, because you have to
created.
remember they show so many scenes of her getting raped by
his-
dogs.
Yeah, so those kids might be traumatizing memories for her.
Basically, she stayed in touch with the youngest, which was not hers. It was one of the ones that he dropped off. But even then, she stopped talking to him less and less. And her son, her actual sons, they get it. They understand. They're not mad at their moms.
I think that's the type of retirement that all
People really want.
people would need, because it's just like she didn't really do that until they was grown, wasn't it?
Yeah, she waited till the last one.
And I feel maybe they were okay. Just live your life. Like her young life, I fucked that up.
that was her mama's fault, honestly.
Yeah. Her mom was bogus when she told her. I wonder if that part was true in the movie, but
Mhm,
I'm gonna go
probably
home
true.
and watch it.
Mm.
Angela Bassett, shout out to you.
Just watch.
Shit, shout out to Lawrence Fishburne
In the-
too,
in the-
because for years
for-
I just
dog.
thought he was like, "Aight."
Who said that? Somebody said that they mama had a chance to meet Dog, and she hated his guts because she always seen Dog as Ike Turner uncle.
That's how you know you played the hell out of a role.
Right. She said it
See,
wasn't.
he's the one person that I can withdraw from roles. And I think because when I think of him, I don't think of Ike. I always go back to Menace to Society, and
I
I
think
just
Morpheus.
loved him in Menace to Society. I was like, oh,
Mm.
The Barrio King now.
Yeah, he can play a lot of roles.
Yeah, he been around for a minute. But
Does
no,
he have a Grammy?
no, I don't think he's
He
ever played
deserves a Grammy.
I don't think he's ever played a role where they felt like they see the character and not him. And I think that's the problem. Because that's how you mean an Oscar, not a Grammy. That's how you actually get awards. That's why it took Leonardo DiCaprio so long to finally get one. Because everything Leo was in, you still seen Leo until he did The Revenants, where you almost forgot who this dude was because he was so in his character.
He got raped by a bear.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Really?
That's the character.
Yeah, well, he got his ass whipped. It looked like
rape.
It looked like the bear was getting it in with him. But yeah, you like Jamie Foxx with Ray.
Yep, you didn't know. You forgot it was Jamie. You only seen Ray.
Mm-hmm.
Halle Berry as a crackhead.
What was it? Training Day with
Denzel.
He
Yeah.
got, or did he get an Oscar for
He
Training?
got an Oscar for that. Because everybody was mad about the fact that you had to play a crooked cop to get the Oscar.
I thought he should have got it for Malcolm X. Honestly,
he definitely. I
Yeah,
forgot
that's
who he
a-
went up against. I forgot what movie beat out Malcolm X, but that was the one he should have got because he played the fuck out of that.
but you know we always get slighted.
Yeah.
We just started winning like we were supposed to. Okay, so topic of conversation for tonight, it will be, I think we'll get through this fine, but it can be, some uncomfortable areas. Oh, this ain't getting current events music because it's just the topic. All right, recently on the Joe Budden podcast, a podcast that actually was one of my inspirations to start the podcast. Joe Budden fired his two co-hosts, Rory and Mal. Now, backstory for most of y'all that probably never listened to the Joe Budden podcast. When Joe Budden started this podcast, around episode 12, he got his friend Mal to come along and join the podcast. Rory came on, I think, around episode 77. But at the time they started this podcast, it was not named the Joe Budden podcast, and they were not getting paid.
I thought that was called something different.
Yes, I forgot what it was called.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
Forgot what I can't really think. But they're on episode 400 plus now. I think it's like 470.
It's something like we gonna name this later or something like that.
But
along that line,
it was a collective group, 3 friends, just sitting down doing what they love, talking about current events, sometimes rating songs and music.
Right.
But along the way, of course, if you're successful at something, which they were, the Joe Budden podcast was a great podcast. It was a pioneer to a lot of your famous people doing podcasts.
Right.
Joe Budden was damn near one of the first as far as mainstream. They inked a deal with Spotify. Then when the Spotify deal didn't serve their purpose anymore, they got to deal with Complex. Until they could get a deal where they didn't have to be exclusive with anyone, and they were just getting paid off of YouTube streams, endorsements and sponsorships from Cash App, and also Patreon.
I'll name this podcast later.
That's what it was called first.
Mm-hmm.
So in the midst of all this, Joe, they went ahead and they renamed it the Joe Budden Podcast, which a lot of people said was a bad idea because we know who Joe Budden is. We've seen him on Love and Hip Hop. We've seen him on what else?
Did y'all see their response to it though? Roy and Mal.
We're gonna get to that in a second. So
that $2 response.
Rory Mal and Joe Budden there was some waves in the water, if you will. And Rory and Mal basically wanted to know about the accounting, as Joe calls it, the accounting. Really, it's to audit them, to audit Joe, to find out how much money they're making, where the money's coming from, because everything was a handshake deal.
Right.
Joe gets upset. Joe tells them that they're his employees. He is the sole owner. He signed all the deals and all the paperwork, and they should be happy with what they were getting. Joe himself says on his podcast that they were paid handsomely. Overpaid, actually, for the last 2 years for the work that they did. Rory and Mal, weren't in favor of any of this. They said, hey, you know what? Until you can come with us with a straight answer, like we boys and shit, we're not showing up. As to which Joe says, you guys don't want to show up, you're fired. Live on his show. Since then, as Amber just stated, Rory and Mal went back and they made a $2 video, or a video that was able to be purchased for $2 on Vimeo, explaining their side of the situation, in which they explained that Joe's full of shit. They just wanted to know where the money was coming from and
where the money reside.
And what was going on. How were they getting paid if the show had 1,500 people versus 2,000 people? How were they getting the same amount of money? It didn't make sense. If we're selling 500 more seats, shouldn't we be getting more money? Or how is any of this working?
Makes sense.
And since then, a lot of people have jumped on. Kevin Hart, most notably, has said his 2-piece and basically called Joe out for being nothing more than a fuck nigga.
Ooh. Kevin Hart said that for real?
Well, he didn't call him a fuck nigga, but he basically
politely.
said that Joe Budden is wrong. Joe Budden, you don't do your people like that, especially live. And, he's like, Rory and Mal didn't come to you live on the show. That shit was handled behind closed doors, and you decided to fire them live, on your podcast. You don't do people like that. I think we'll start one with the response that you wanted to talk about. Rory and Mal's response to all this.
I believe Roy and Mal because it's like Joe, he been getting arrogant as fuck lately. He's very arrogant. It's not a team thing. I feel like he should have kept the name of the show the way it was at first. That
was red flag number 1, changing the name.
No, red flag number one was that it was on Joe Budden's YouTube. They didn't make a whole new YouTube for all of them to be like have access to see everything. That's on Joe Budden's stuff where his videos and everything else is at. So that'll like even if you go like it's uploaded on Joe Budden's YouTube, but when you go on there, you mostly see Joe Budden's videos. So he uses them, and he been using them from the jump. Like nobody will be watching your show as much if you didn't start that off, or if Roy and Maul, I probably said the name wrong. Wasn't on
Roy
it.
and Maul.
Roy and Maul wasn't on it. Like I wouldn't have like any episodes I watch is because I like the other two people's perspective also. So it's just Joe. He's been real arrogant. He's been real arrogant. And then for you to talk so much shit about people in the industry and contracts, and then turning red in the face and purple and blue and shit at Yachty, you gonna put your own friends in a messed up contract.
That light skinned nigga shit.
You put your own friends in it.
So it's typically been said, and especially in the music industry, that most artists do to other artists what was done to them.
Right.
So the cycle never totally breaks.
Nope.
Like, there's a thing going on right now between Meek Mill and Rick Ross, and nobody completely knows exactly why they're falling out. Ross is saying it's because Meek wants out his deal, and Ross is trying to get him to stay till the end of it. Okay, there's a reason that Meek Mill wants to be out of it. Now, Meek Mill hasn't said anything, but I think maybe he could be just feeling like he's too big to be on MMG.
He might want to be independent where he gets more of a cut.
It could be he's getting fucked on his deal, like damn near every artist we done seen before him.
Look, throughout the history of music, there's always been the Pebble contract, as I like to call it.
Oh, Lord.
No, for real. 3
Pebble.
albums
Yeah.
under contract. We front you everything. You reimburse us on the first album. You use your own money for the second one. And by the time you do the third one, you should be bringing in new artists to replace where you go from here. I call it the Pebble contract. That's the contract that's been around for everybody. Nobody ever educates anybody on that first album.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where everybody goes downhill from.
No, everybody sees the $250,000 advance you get,
or the wild ass videos you making
that you got to pay for,
or the $1 million tour you going
that
on.
you got to pay for.
Right? They don't see all that; they just see success.
My thing is, I think on the outside looking in of seeing so many bad deals, even if I was to take a deal like that, my eye would be on the prize to get out of it. In a sense,
you should always.
It's like when you take a loan. Your quickest way is to pay it off. But now we in this see me state and everything. Right. I was just like, man, I think us looking out on the outside end, we'd be like, I'd be penny pinching, I'd be at city clubs, I'd be doing like trying not to do the lavish stuff just to pay it off quicker.
But in the record,
but I don't think it's that easy.
Yeah,
but the label controls
like the label
a lot
not
of it
gonna make it
because the label will be like, okay, this is a demographic that likes your music. They like these clothes, so you got to wear these clothes right here. So we'll put you with this endorsement deal, not realizing you're still paying for the starter clothes. Mm-hmm. Or they'll be like, well, we're going to have you go to these different places. Or let's not forget, niggas have a nasty habit of always wanting to go back and get everybody who's been down with them for day one. Look at Hammer. Hammer is one of the biggest selling artists during this time and went broke. Will Smith. Yeah. He even had to stop. Hell, Jada had to make him stop, to be honest with you. Or else he would have been broke.
Like, it's so many hidden fees in those contracts.
Big facts.
Hidden expenses and shit that you don't realize it. Now, I do give sometimes credit to the ignorance of, and not ignorance in a bad way, just pure, I don't know. When you got kids that are 18, 19 years old, getting taken into record executive offices, and the first flag is that the label is the one that offers you the lawyer. Yeah. Well, this is going to be your lawyer right here. Oh, okay, cool. The label hooked me up with a lawyer. The label hooked you up with a lawyer.
But no. They are, but they not. Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, if the company or the record label that your favorite artist is on comes knocking on your door, okay, you are immediately going to be like, dog, this particular label wants me. You know, you throw everything out the door because you look at the success of your favorite artist.
Especially somebody like Ross. Somebody like Ross,
Right.
you know, calls for you,
So-
sends for you to come to Miami to
Right.
his house to sit in his
So
office.
as we talking tomorrow, if they come knock on your door,
First of all, I'm gonna know why you here because it's too late for me.
yeah, but
It's way too late for me.
I feel like there's so much information out
There
there when you
is.
should know that you're the prize and they need
You know,
But you
The
also
simplest
look at your situation too. Like if everybody favorite wrestler in the
My
world,
situation
everybody has
can
a
only
price.
get better if you
No,
hear.
the simplest thing, it really, honestly, if you want to be, you know, 100% blunt about this shit, is you shouldn't be talking to him in the first place.
You
You
should.
should have hired your own attorney that works in your interest.
But think
not
about
the attorney that the label gave you, that the label is paying for, that they go golfing with every fucking weekend. Not them. You go get your own attorney that's going to get a commission off the deal he makes you, because now you know he's going to work hard,
But
because
you
he
have-
wants that.
He wants that money.
10,
But
15,
you have to think about
20%.
it. Most people only interaction when it comes to lawyers is when you done got popped.
When you in trouble, pretty much.
Basically, when you in trouble. So you don't look at a lawyer for good. You don't think that lawyers have different roles because the lawyer you always think about is when you're in trouble. So if somebody gives you a lawyer and you don't have to worry about the retainer fee, you look at the expenses, how much you make. Okay, I ain't got to pay this dude, and all I got to do is hit him up whenever I got situations and they going to do what I need them to do. I'm not going to complain about it.
Yeah,
You know?
but the whole time the lawyer is working.
But
in
of
the
course, the
interest
lawyer
label.
is working in it all as he should be, because as much as he's doing everything for you, you're not the one paying him.
Mhm.
You're not the one paying the retainer. Your label is. Okay. At the same time, let's.
So
keep
he's
it-
gonna make sure you make some money, but
gonna make
the
you-
bulk of it.
He gonna
and-
make sure the company makes money.
Yeah,
You just happen to get money in between it.
but all your publishing and the masters and all that shit is not owned by. Like, I was like, what? Let's just say Meek Mill only made $25,000 off Dreams and Nightmares. Would people now
That's
understand
unbelievable.
why he would want to get out of that deal with Ross? Now, I'm not saying that's what happened. I don't know if that's what happened.
That's
I'm not-
actually believable. Cause look at Goody Mob.
Yeah, but that's my
They
thing.
first,
It's like,
they first album, they didn't make nothing.
Or look at the Salt and Pepper. They didn't make shit off it. Push It.
Which is one of the oldest songs
That
out.
still comes on to this day, and they don't make a dime off
White
of Push
folks
It.
go crazy over that song. It'd be a movie. It was just something I was listening to the other day.
So, I mean, you know, people get fucked over for years, but I do understand. It, just like the New Edition movie, when they came in with the Betamaxes and, what was it, $100 in the Betamax or $50 in the Betamax, they gave all the,
Right.
or what you call it?
Watch that for me.
You still ain't finished it?
But you get these big
Good
time
movie.
record
One of the best
executives
ones.
that come in with the flashy suits, the
Right.
money, the people you seen succeed. So, like I said, Ross reaches out to you and says, "I want you to come down to Miami, come to my house.
You know what
and,
it
you
is?
know, we need to talk." And you get to his house and you see how he's living.
You know what it is? This is why Ross don't want him out. Meek Mills, he makes money off of Meek Mills. And that's probably his guaranteed residual income because niggas fuck with Meek. He ain't got to worry about it. When Meek drops an album, it's going to sell XYZ. And he's going to make just as much, if not more, than what Meek is making.
Well, that's fine, but that's why he won't let him out that
Right,
deal.
he's
My
saying
thing
that.
is,
So
what
this is a
all
whole
does
puffy
Meek got to
thing.
do to
Right.
get out of his contract?
I'm pretty sure it's another couple albums type
It's
deal.
few albums, and he got to be lawyer the fuck up. Guarantee.
I drop.
Because I guarantee you that the label also probably covered a lot of his legal expenses over the 10 years when he was dealing with that bullshit with the judge.
Oh yeah.
So you got to think about all of that he's probably going to have to pay back if he hasn't been paying back in these albums. So Meek probably hasn't made money since the first album he dropped.
No, I think.
I mean, he made
I
some,
think
but what I'm
he
saying is
does
he ain't
his
made as
money.
much as he could have.
No, not as much as he could have. Especially, like I said, with Dreams and Nightmares being damn near on the top 10 charts for the, damn near 2 years. It still comes on the radio, still comes on in the clubs. People still go crazy over it, and he's probably not making no money. But let's bring this back home to the Joe Budden podcast. So, Joe Budden, Spotify hits Joe Budden up. Joe Budden wants to get paid for these podcasts. He thinks his podcast, their podcast, because at the time he was still a group and he was still saying us and we. Then he goes to Spotify, inks a deal, and he tells Rory, "Hey, we made some money now. you getting this much, Ma, you getting this much. Now, they never said that Joe didn't pay them. They never told that. And they always said they got their money on time. They just wanted to know, what are these deals? How much are you making off of the podcast we created? Well, you get to deal with Complex, which is a little more money than what Spotify was paying. Now you're going on tours. So you're getting tour money, you get money for the shows, and Joe thinks you should just take it and be happy. Real dictator type move.
Okay.
So when the Cash App deal drops and the deal with Patreon drops, like, okay, exactly what the books look like. What are we making? Like, I would think anybody would want to do. If somebody came to me and inked a deal with me for Real Bar Talk Podcast, I would be transparent enough to sit down and be like, look, this is what we got offered.
Right.
What the books look like, Tori?
Okay, it's red. They about as red as that cup over there right now.
Well, all right, so let me ask you these questions. Because I see where you're going. I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Mm-hmm.
So, when it's time to have these meetings, is the whole team in the room?
Yes.
The 3 creative members of the podcast, yes.
Okay. So, if all 3 are in the room...
4, I would say. The dude that be off camera, I would feel like he a part of it too.
Well, yeah, you could.
Okay.
Because they've used him in promos.
Right, of course. He gets a cut, but he probably has a separate deal outside of the on-air personalities. Just like how
because
like D-Rec has a completely different deal than, let's say
that because Maul and his thing, and he did some interview with Roy, and he was just like, he kept talking about pay him, and I forgot his name, but he kept
I know you're talking about.
Yeah, he kept saying pay him.
Okay, so question 1: will everybody be in the room when the deal happens? In this situation with Joe, that's on Rory and Maul that they wasn't in the building when the deals were being talked.
Did Joe invite? We don't know if Joe invited them to it or not.
See, but the thing was, and this is how it went down from Joe's perspective. This is what Joe said on his podcast.
Okay,
they came to him. Spotify came to him. Complex came to him.
Right.
They didn't ask about Rory and Maul being there.
So,
the deal was technically for Joe, and out of the kindness of his heart, he broke them off.
So
money that he technically feels he didn't have to.
I feel other about that.
Now I do too, because you are not the podcast,
but
you're just the face of it.
And I get that. I get what you're saying. Like I said, I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Say what you gotta say, so I can say what I gotta say.
But at the time, like they said, they came to Joe. They say, Joe, we want your podcast here. Joe, we want to pay you XYZ to have your podcast exclusive to these 2 platforms. They came to Joe.
Are you done?
It's up to Joe whether or not he had to say, well, I got to make this decision with my peoples. If they say, well, Joe, we only want to do business with you, or the deal's off the table, Joe got to pull that trigger. Then Joe has to pay them what he needs to pay them.
I have an issue with that only because if they came and only wanted Joe is arrogant enough to say that.
I'm not disagreeing.
I feel like he's arrogant enough to say that. He went into that as if he's the only one they wanted because they talked to him, because his name is on the show.
And that's what I was going to get to.
Because if he would have went on with that without them two, Spotify would have realized how trash Joe is by himself.
They still
no, because when he was on the other one, what was it, Complex? He was only good with academics.
True.
He's only good with someone else. Joe doesn't have enough personality to be by himself, because then he's just the angry ass old nigga.
But to the eyes of the executive, out of all these names across this table, who's a famous name?
Just because he got the famous name don't mean shit.
To the companies that paying you the money, it does.
No, because they look at numbers.
Right.
My thing is, it wasn't until, his little deal got messed up and he started uploading on his YouTube. Joe, he didn't even have as many YouTube followers until he started uploading that podcast on there with all 3 of them. And I know, because that's where I listened to him at. I didn't listen to him on Spotify and iHeartRadio or anything. I just watched him on YouTube.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Because I like I like their facial expressions type stuff.
And I feel you on that. I'm not saying That what you're saying
I'm
is wrong.
saying is I didn't go to watch it just for Joe.
But the way the companies looked at it when they struck the deal was the Joe Budden podcast. Thus, means Joe must be the dude,
but it didn't,
and that's who they want to do the
but
deal
it didn't
with.
even take off until he added his friends.
Well, let's be clear. This has nothing to do with Spotify or Complex. Because Spotify or Complex, we're looking at, like you said, who's the man.
Right.
This is all on Joe.
It is.
To go say, hey, I want my boys in the room.
And that's why I said,
if he couldn't do that, then to say, all right, this is money we're going to take. Rory and Maul, this is the deal I signed. This is how much money is coming in. Right. This is how I feel the split should be. Even if you feel you should get more because you're the headliner. Okay, that's how it works. That's how it works in every group, every band. And you want to get more money than the rest of them? Cool. But tell them.
And I get that. And I think what Joe did was he looked at the podcast situation, like Me1 always said, it's just another variation of the music game. It's just talk radio instead. He looked at it as a normal music contract. So being the fact that he's the main artist, he put himself first on that. And everybody else is who you cut. It's like saying you're prime example. James Brown goes and does a contract. The contract is about James Brown. It's up to James Brown of how he delegates to pay his band.
We already agree on that.
Right. So I think that's how Joe looked at it too. Like, I'm the dude who is the name on everything.
But that's the problem.
And I'm not saying that. I told you I'm playing devil's advocate. Agree with you. So I'm not mad at Joe 100%. He took care of business. I'm mad at how he expressed his detain. Like, prime example. We gonna go here since we talking this shit. We had issues here on Real Bar Talk. Shit could have got public. It didn't. Mm-hmm. Okay?
That's right, because I wouldn't let it go public.
It couldn't.
But see, Joe Budden would have handled that totally different.
But what if the other party did go public, though?
The thing is, there's a friendship behind it. Joe Budden claims these as his best friends.
Sometimes you shouldn't do business with your friends.
But
if you're going to have the mentality that Joe has, you got to take a difference of friendship out the door, business first.
No, what the problem with this situation is, I feel like you, along with Joe Budden, is putting more weight on his name than he actually has. He's not a household name. He compared himself to what the Joe Rogan show. You can't compare yourself to somebody that been doing podcasting for when YouTube started.
I can say Joe should be able to. Budden should be able to compare himself to Joe Rogan on the stat of if Joe Rogan wasn't the number one podcast, Budden was. If it's
you
that close,
you got to look
as far as popularity.
Yeah.
Even though to be honest, Joe Budden had more big interviews before Rogan landed that big ass deal with Spotify, right?
The problem with
$100 million
that is
deal.
Rogan been in it for way more years than Joe, he has loyal subscribers and everything behind him.
But look,
Joe, he got into it when everything else shut down and other motherfuckers didn't want him. You got to build that shit up, and Joe put himself up here when the Rogan guy, he worked his way up there.
I mean,
he worked his way to where he was supposed to be.
They
and
both
Joe
did.
Feel like
okay.
Because people was in a pandemic and had nothing else to do. My thing is, if the pandemic never came, would he still be at that highest status as he was at first?
Yeah,
it would be high, but it wasn't be as high.
Before.
Right. I would have to say because even though you say Joe is not a household name, let's be honest. Up until the podcast, nobody knew them other three names. Yeah, but everybody still knew Joe.
But Joe still
whether it was Pump It Up.
In fact, a lot of people didn't know their names until this shit broke out.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But don't act like they didn't need each other.
I'm not saying we're not saying that.
But my thing is that was Joe's problem in it. Joe act like he was so high up that he didn't need them when he did it. He's not a Wendy Williams. People not just gonna sit and watch his ass.
Well, the last part I'd like to bring up what Joe said in his rant on that episode was that he took a look. We get when Rory and Maul didn't show up, and Ice and Ish and
right.
Ice-ish, and I forget what the other one name is. They all stepped in. He looked at the numbers. The numbers did a little dip, but then they leveled right back out. So in his opinion, everything is fine. I mean, I've seen a lot of people that I'm friends with on social media that said they like the show the way it is now with Ice and Ish and what is the other one name? I can't. But they liked it. They like it like that. I don't have a problem with him changing up the show.
Right.
I do have a problem with the way he went about it.
Everybody. Yeah, that's the biggest issue with everybody. Because change is inevitable. You have to make the change. Like, I can sit here and say people who came to me about Real Bar Talk would say they liked it when KT was here. I got other people who say they fucking love Amber. You see what? It's not saying that they never gonna fuck with the show again. They just got to get used to the change. Joe went out like a light-skinned nigga at the end of the day. All that shit was petty. You didn't have to do all that. You didn't have to go to that extreme. Now, if Rory and Mal was running their mouth and that's how you responded to it, completely different story. But you did that first.
Of course, because that conversation was had in private. Then it was uncomfortable on the show. He claims they went to therapy. Then he just has a melting breakdown on an episode that says, hey, this is what's going on with Roy and Mal.
And he
then
did
why they
that,
ain't been here.
and Roy wasn't even in the room. Like, you snapped at an empty space.
I hate that he did that. The empty chairs fit. That's petty.
I'm talking to you,
And
Casey.
the funny thing is, you could actually damn near call Charlamagne the guy the prophet. Because on their show, he told them all this shit was going to happen.
I seen
You
the
know
video.
what I feel like, though?
I actually was just
He said to Rory, he said, look, Joe would get rid of you for academics. If
and
he
I
could,
was going to bring academics up. I said, I feel like Joe wants to work with academics.
And the funny thing
And
is,
they gonna get fucked
guess who
up
had
too.
something to say after all this?
Yep.
Academics.
DJ Academic. And guess whose side he was on?
You know he's on Joe. That's his boy.
And him and Joe can't stand each other.
And
but
you
all
know-
of a sudden, you on Joe's side and you calling Rory and Mal out for this?
And you know what I think
lets me
fucked
know
up
that
about
there's
that
something
situation?
There's a deal
they
going
got
on.
a deal going on. But what I think is fucked up is I feel Joe was talking shit about academics to Marlon Roy all that time. Got them two not liking this man. And when X talk shit about them, he don't protect them. Well, he ain't got to protect them, but at least say something. Them yo niggas. It's like, I'm not finna go on somebody else's podcast and they sit up there and say something about Tori. I'm gonna be like, nah, hold the fuck up. They say something about, hold the fuck up, watch your mouth. Like, you supposed to say something. It's like, if you want to suck X dick, just say that, Joe.
Or he might already be doing that, but that's a whole nother story.
And then
Because he need them.
Joe goes on the Breakfast Club, I think a couple years ago, and sits down with DJ Envy and them. And he lets Envy talk crazy about Rory.
You can't talk crazy about my friend.
Because
you can't let Envy out of all people, dog.
Rory, no, it wasn't Mal. One of them said on the Joe Budden podcast that the Breakfast Club would only be around for like 2 more months. That was when the whole thing was going on with the Charlamagne deal and stuff like that. And one of them said the Breakfast Club would be around for another 2 more months. And DJ Envy took offense to that.
As
He
should.
wouldn't let them come on the Breakfast Club, only Joe Budden.
Well-
So Joe Budden gets up there and gets to laughing and joking and kikiing with somebody who's basically down talking your friends. And then we get to the point of Charlamagne asked the question, well, do you think Rory and Mal could hold their own on a podcast? And Joe says, wait, by themselves? No, they could never do that. That should have actually told you it was blood in the water right then, listening to that.
I feel like Ma, he be noticing shit, but don't be saying nothing.
Mal done asked Joe for his 5 minutes at least 3 or 4 times that I done listened
Like,
to the episode.
they
Mal
be
done
on
asked
it.
him, he's like, give me my 5 minutes. Let's go outside. Let's this, that, and the other.
Ma, I feel like Ma got tired of being disrespected.
That's what it was.
And then
But
he
he
went at
said
Mal.
he
I heard,
stayed for
oh yeah,
Roy.
Mal was living at my house all these years, and Mal would take the detergent and hide it in his room. He was one of them type of niggas.
Now you being petty.
I'm like
We didn't
if
need to
that
know.
did happen,
Why?
Why? We
What
don't
does it-
care.
what
We
does this
don't
have to do
care.
with-
Did he buy the detergent? Yeah.
Let them
That's his
niggas,
business
let them
there.
niggas
Maybe
see that
he don't want
contract.
you using his delicate soap. Shit, the fuck?
I'm gonna tell you, as a
Shit ain't even been
podcaster,
working
niggas
this
ain't
whole
shit.
time. I'm just surfing and
as a podcaster, I
Lousy.
understand that
Maybe so, it might.
the shit gets rough
nah,
sometimes.
fuck that.
No, the whole thing might have came unplugged
Shut
from my
up.
laptop.
Shut up.
In podcasting,
Don't get
shit
mad.
does
I
get
ain't
rough.
Joe Button. Don't put me in that category.
People have differences of opinion, especially when you record a podcast week in, week out. I'm pretty sure most of the shows around the city have experienced the same things.
Every show.
Sometimes they don't feel somebody's pulling their weight, or people aren't showing up like they're supposed to, or you got to had an uncomfortable situation of talking about getting rid of somebody, or you guys come to arguments over topics and stuff. This shit happens. But they should never go public. Hell, Real Bar Talk has had plenty of problems.
Man.
Ain't not one of them made it on 112 episodes.
And Tone will
Not
never
from
say
us,
anything.
at least.
Hmm?
Nothing came out of it from us.
Tone will never say what
from
goes
us,
on.
you know, the other parties have been, mad and talking and shit. But I don't respond to that way. It leaves mystique to the whole
I only
situation.
respond with fight me.
Why are you so violent, fam?
Because if you ain't willing to fight me, you ain't really that deep.
I mean, when it comes down to podcasting, you got maybe between one and normal size podcast between 1 and 4 people. All different, 2 to 4 people, because the monologues don't really work that well unless they're interviewing somebody.
Monologues are only good if they're using them as personal journals.
Or telling a story or some shit. But like 2 to 4 people is a pretty decent sized podcast. That means you have multiple personalities, multiple points of view. That's normally what makes the podcast great. The chemistry in arguing and debating and going over topics. But you have to understand with that.
I said we be arguing.
But you have to understand with that is a mutual respect. There's always a mutual respect. We can argue all day on these mics. Afterwards, where we're going to get something to eat at, or let's go have a drink, or I see you, talk to you tomorrow, or some shit like that.
I'm tired of Buffalo Bills.
Even when you got personal issues, sometimes you got to come sit down here and put them aside just to get through an episode, which makes us some of the greatest actors known to man.
Man, people really
ain't no acting in here. We just this fuck ass nigga done.
No, I done acted plenty episodes.
True
I don't be acting.
I came in here so mad sometimes at situation stuff. Let me just get through the episode.
I think I'll be coming in here chill.
No, you don't. You be angry.
But I'm always angry, so you can't just label all my angries as there's always a happy angry. I'm happy angry when I come in here. Your fuck ass.
So aggressive. You need a hug, fam.
Literally, if Spotify offered me a deal, came to me and said, Tori, Real Bar Talk is nice. It's got something going on. There's some steam under there. I'm going to put you in the office and talk to you about the deal. I think the best situation for me to do at that point would at least be to tell y'all that's what happened. Spotify hit me up and told just me to come. I will inform y'all on everything that they said, and y'all can even advise me on whether I should take this deal.
You're supposed to say, let me get my lawyers to look at it. That way you have time to go back, talk to your team, and actually have a real lawyer looking at the deal and see how everybody can eat.
I mean, they like, and if, it's not, hell no, we should all be going. Look, they just asked for me. But if y'all trust me, I can go get it paid.
So
I think,
and I'm gonna let y'all know.
How would you feel, Amber, if Tori goes to the table with this deal, and they come back and says, "All right, we'll do business. Since there's 3 of y'all, and Tori's the face in their opinion, he gets 50, and you and Casey get 25. Would you be cool with that?"
Yes.
See, that's why she's not.
No.
But I have a reason.
I can understand.
I have a reasoning for why.
The other one would be the reason why I have a question.
She ain't here now. So she ain't gotta...
I have a reasoning for why. I feel like, for me personally, Tori does more than I do.
Right.
Like Tori, he'll be at more events. Tori, he has put front a lot of money into situations. So, I mean, I would have to respect that. But if it gets to a point where we taking off, I would say after a certain amount of time, when I put in my work, I would want to, look at that deal.
We'll discuss your raise down. Discuss your raise down a lot.
See, this is what I need Casey at your call.
But my thing is, after a certain amount of time, if Tori's still putting in the work and I just put in the bare minimum of what I put in, I don't have a problem with that.
See,
because I know what I'm willing to put in.
The funny thing is about me, I wouldn't want no murmuring and no cutting the side out.
Okay.
33.333% for everybody.
And the last penny goes into a donation.
Yeah, whatever. We didn't know that's how we write off taxes.
Put it in the tax account.
So ain't nobody looking
because
crazy.
honestly, I also thought you would have said I wasn't here in the beginning, so I would be okay with 25.
No, I just know for what's going on right now, I know how much time I put into the situation. It's like, it's times I forget to share the post, so I just be like, I want to be. Okay.
I ain't mad at you.
But see, that's the difference. I mean, like,
as long as I ain't getting taken or got, I'm good.
Because I would always feel that if somebody like Spotify Complex came to me and offered me a let's say $100,000 a year,
right?
$100,000 a year to put out what is it? 4 episodes a month, 48 episodes a year.
Yeah,
I'll offer you $100,000 for 48 episodes.
That's not
okay,
bad
cool.
Deal.
All right, I'll take the deal. And I'm like, look, deal's for $100,000. Split 33%. Y'all just make sure y'all there. We can pay it out per episode, or I can pay y'all out up front, but I'm not paying nobody up front. We'll take it every episode. That way, if you miss, then that's your 33% for that episode, which will be split between the two of us at 50.
I think I'm the more understanding person.
But that's the way I would do it, because I would figure if Complex came to me and offered me a deal like that, then it's sponsors and shit right around the corner. Like the Joe Budden podcast really had not peaked to where it could have been.
Shit, that's $2,000 a week.
That like literally the Joe
I had to
Budden
do the math.
The Joe Budden podcast did not peak to where it could have been. I mean, this podcast had a lot of steam behind it. It was one of the more prominent podcasts. It was one of the oldest podcasts.
Once the pandemic ended, it probably would have really opened up.
And then, touring again, because they did great on their last tour. Touring for
Kayla said, "I'll take that." I'm assuming to the percentage.
Shout out to K-Way.
Oh, to the percentage.
Yeah, shout out to K-Way.
I always shout out to K-Way. That's
every episode.
I braided Kayla hair on.
She started.
I
seen that, dog.
I'm like, she done let Tori in her damn head.
She asked me. She said, "Do you know how to braid?" I was like, "Lucky for you, this back ain't kicked in yet."
That's how you know he got daughters.
Lucky for you, I braided my baby hair.
Right, if you got daughters, you learn how to braid.
Kayla funny. I braided her hair. She was like, "Oh, period." Now I feel like the gay hairdresser.
That was her face when she took the picture. Like, period. Styles by Tori.
Then I saw the picture. She talking about book him and all that.
And she said, "I'm braiding here now."
You should have called your boy.
Book him.
I'd have gave you a good rate on it.
Book Tori.
Please don't book this one.
Y'all just make sure y'all know, because I will have my booth set up at Kayla's
K-Way Day.
Yeah, at K-Way Day on June 22nd. Y'all come find me in the corner. I have a stool and.
I thought it was the 12th.
Was it? No, June 12th.
Like,
June 12th.
I said y'all booking or looking.
And June 12th, y'all come see me in the corner in the booth. I have a comb and some Murray's grease, and I'll be.
She'll bring her egg rolls
hair
to you while he braid.
Mm-hmm.
Don't move in his chair now.
I can only do one style, so you'll like it.
June 12th.
I'm gonna have half the room.
She got an event coming June 12th?
Yeah, K-Way Day.
K-Way Day.
Oh yeah, I shared it.
I'm mad because that's the day I leave for Puerto Rico.
We'll have the egg
rolls. I'll be back from Texas then. I did say I was going back to Texas. I did say that right. Yeah.
No.
I'll go back.
Tired of this shit. One don't show up, the other one trying to move. I'm going. You know what, buddy? I'm gonna be a monologue pretty soon.
I know how to take this contract.
I'll take your 25%. She ain't.
This really is about to be a monologue. God is telling me.
I'll have a one night stand this time, so we can have something for the ratings.
I believe it. I'm gonna hear about it. So this is what we're gonna do. So over the summertime,
baby, I was gonna say you shared how you forget
for the next co-host of Real Bar
I'll be
Talk.
forgetting the names.
Let's see. Over the course of the weekend, 2 graduations I want to shout out. My cousin, my sister Brittany, is my first friend. Me and her are 6 months apart. We grew up, stayed with each other until I was 14 years old. Grew up at my grandma's house. She graduated from college on Friday. And then shout out to a guest that's been on here quite a few times, Chrissy Bates. She graduated on Sunday, and I attended her graduation party down on the Bayou. It was a great time, and I'm very proud of her.
You really do be out here, dog.
People keep hitting me up and asking me to do. You know what? I feel so bad.
Like, bro, do you ever be home?
Right. I feel so bad when people ask me to do stuff and I know it's in my power and not to do it. But I do tell people a lot. I may not have a lot of money, but I am rich with people. I am. I can't think of one person that I couldn't call and ask for something, and I value that over money any day. Yeah, Chrissy on this podcast says,
you're a rich man.
She was tired and she couldn't, had a lot going on, but she would stop everything she was doing just to come here and do this interview because it was me.
Yeah. And
I take value in shit like that. So, yeah, I was tired. Oh, and then shout out to Nisha and her 90s party.
I missed it.
Sunday.
I did too. I literally had a record and I couldn't skip out of.
You know what? I'm telling y'all hear this first. For me, I'm opening the 90s bar in Milwaukee.
You don't see why not?
Because that music was slamming. Boy, we Tootsie Roll and doing the butt and sure enough, the 8-ball and MJG hit. I'm ready to party then.
So how much been gay that you need to use today?
None. I was too drunk. Shoot up. Boy, I was messed up. Kayla left me. She had a family emergency though.
She said, "Say happy birthday to her. Birthday's today."
I just said happy birthday to Nisha, didn't I?
You just said about the party. You
okay. Happy birthday, Nisha.
Happy birthday to my bestie. Her birthday was last week, Taja.
Shout out to Taja, who I never see anymore, but
right, don't nobody see her no more.
Yeah, she be at home with the baby because she work from home, so she just be in the house with the baby.
She don't leave.
Yeah, she's in Atlanta right now. Or she probably back by now.
Everybody in Atlanta.
Yeah, she went down there for her birthday. So shout out to my bestie. I love you, girl. No homo.
I was typing as you was talking to. Oh, okay. But yeah, we had a good time. We had a good time at that 90s
Don't leave
party.
That one up there.
I had to break out the starter pullover, show everybody,
Why do you still have that?
That was only my second time ever wearing it.
But I'm saying, why do you still have it, dog? Is it in storage or something?
No, it's in my front closet. I bought it 3 years ago because I saw an ad on Facebook for starter pullovers.
Okay.
And I was like, how could I not get a giant starter pullover?
I'll let it slide.
I thought of you
just bought it 3 years
today
ago.
when I was looking at an air fryer. And I was like, I'd be crazy not to buy it.
Yeah, I would. Ad popped up and all right, here, a quick story before we get out of here. I had some of the cheapest pants known to man. I don't think they made them too. The guy from Everybody Hates Chris, Terry Crews, it was my daddy.
When it was grab his dick.
In sixth grade or 7th grade is when the starter pullover trend came to town. Yes, and I'm talking about everybody walking around Georgetown, Morehouse, Duke, Charlotte Hornets, and all this. Everybody had their starter pullovers. They were $99 at Johnny Walker's in Capitol Court.
Big facts.
I asked my daddy, cried, begged, pleaded, could you get me a starter pullover? You don't give me shit else. Just give me the starter pullover.
First of all, he didn't say that daddy smacked the black off you.
I want the starter pullover. Everybody's got a starter pullover. Can I have a starter pullover? This man goes and, we go to Johnny Walker's. He looks at the price and he said, no, not today. So 2 days later, I think it was Saturday, I'm in the room watching Saturday morning wrestling or whatever. My father comes in and he said, you know what? I went out, me and mama went out, JCPenney, and we found you a pullover. It was some generic windbreaker that had no team logo, no nothing. This was knockoff. He probably paid about $8 for it. And I have never been so pissed in my life. So you know what I did?
He was Ralphie off a Christmas Story.
So you know what I did? I went ahead and I waited until I was grown and could afford my own starter pullover coat, and I bought me one. I did not know if I was ever going to wear it. Most of the people I see that wear starter pullover coats are crackheads. But I knew a day would come where somebody would say, hey, we're having a party and you can wear that starter pullover. So when Nisha asked me, Tori, will you come to my 90s party? And I don't do theme parties. I don't even dress up for Halloween like that or nothing. So she said, Tori, will you come to my 90s party? I thought about that starter pullover coat hanging in my closet. I went
The
over
front
there.
closet upstairs,
The front
not
closet.
not in storage at all. No mothball smell, nothing.
Went and grabbed that coat,
Nice.
broke it out, and guess what happened? When I walked up in there, everybody came running up to me. Dog, where'd you find the starter pullover? Bell of the ball. Yep.
Hot as hell.
Hot as fuck. Actually took the
Flyest
starter,
nigga in the room.
took the starter pullover coat off and had to have.
She asked you to tag her.
She asked you, or I tagged you, Toriana.
I don't know.
Look, Kayla, stop taking credit for. Okay, so Kayla tagged me, and then Nisha brought it up later on. Both things happened. You told me to come, Kayla, and then me and Nisha was arguing, and she said she'd give me an extra candy bag if I can. I never got the candy bag, but I did have a whole shit ton of blow pop stuff. Somebody stole the ring pops.
Pause.
You know you gotta covet them ring pops, man.
Yeah, it was still in the ring pops left and right. So, all right, I guess that's it for today.
Now I'm on Amazon looking for a New York Knicks starter pullover.
Oh, now you want to start a pullover? See, I'm bringing it back. I'm telling you.
God, these old,
And here's the next one I'm gonna bring
dudes.
back. I'm gonna fuck everybody with this one. You remember them bomber coats with the brown leather with
The
the
fur?
fur on it? Yeah, with the patches on it.
Hey,
when I find one of them,
hold on,
I'm out here.
I might still have one in the closet.
When I come out, I'm out here.
Might have to battle the mothballs for it, but I think I still got one.
So y'all know where to reach us at: Twitter bar_MKE, Facebook Real Bar Talk,
Sign us off.
Real Bar Talk on
You
Real
off
Talk
again?
About Podcast on Instagram. Y'all make sure y'all listen to us. Drop date on Wednesday. And if you need to get in contact with us, Real Bar Talk MK. No, it's just Real Bar Talk Podcast at Gmail. And listen to us at Spotify, iHeart, wherever you listen to your podcasts at. So from us, make sure your next drink is a cold one. We out.
See ya.